Hello, students, and welcome to Time. We are going to discuss the current affairs between January 4th to January 10th. And these current affairs are going to be important for all your upcoming competitive exams. So, we are going to discuss the current affairs and then we are going to discuss the options available with them. So let's start with the very first question. So the very first question is related to the Venezuela versus US, and I'm sure you people are following this. So this question says the constitutional chamber of the Supreme Court of which country has ordered that Vice President Delcy Rodriguez assume the role of acting president. So, people, those who are following the current affairs, I'm sure they know that I am going to mark this answer as Venezuela. So, the current president of Venezuela, Maduro, he is in the US custody, and you know what things are going on. So there are many current affairs which are related to Venezuela. As in, if you talk about as of today, when I'm taking this class, I read the newspaper that a Venezuelan activist, Machado, she gave her Nobel Prize, gifted her Nobel Prize to the president of US. And then that was making the highlight in the newspaper today. While I am reading the news, especially these days, geopolitical news is there. It's not only about the problem going on with Venezuela. US has many things going on at the same time. So, problem with Cuba, problem with Europe on the Greenland issue. So, you should read in all the angles of the current affair. So, Venezuela is the answer. And Venezuela follows a constitution which is known as the Bolivarian Constitution. This is important for you to know. The then leader of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, he was a big supporter of the Bolivarian Constitution. Bolivarian Constitution. So this is the constitution which is followed in Venezuela. This is one thing you should know, right? So this is the primary constitution in the contemporary politics of Venezuela. Anyways, let's move towards the next question. The Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, who was also the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh for almost 10 years, has said that India has become the world's largest producer of rice, suppressing, and the answer is China. All the students preparing for exams like NABARD or RRB, the news related to agriculture sector is very important. Right. If there is a news coming of the largest producer or the the India is suppressing some country like here China was suppressed. Should also know that India is the largest consumer of sugar in the world, and therefore we are also known as the diabetes capital of India. So there are many things. If you are especially targeting NABARD or RRB, there are things which are related to the agriculture sector, which you should be very careful. You should make a note. For an example, the MSP issue, minimum support price, or which body is responsible for to decide MSP, on which crops the government gives the MSP. Such kind of questions are very frequently asked. Then these farm laws. So government came up with for farm laws which were opposed by the farmers. So, for me, it's very important to know what were those. You must be saying, yeah, this is an old news, but still, while I'm preparing for the examination, the things which sometimes in the newspaper in the recent past can also be asked at as the current affairs. So the MSP, the farm laws, the largest production in like India is the largest producer of milk in the world. So I should know this, right? So the MSP politics, the farm laws, and we are the eighth largest exporters. So we are the eighth largest exporters of agriculture in the world. Now, this is not the data which is given by me. This is said by the World Trade Organization, right? So these are the things. We are the largest producers of rice. We are the second largest producer of sugar, as I told you, right? So they can also ask who is the largest producer of sugar. So Brazil is the largest producer of sugar, right? We are the fourth largest producers of oilseeds. So again, they can ask which country is the largest producer of oilseeds if India is fourth largest. So the largest producer of oilseeds is US, followed by China and Brazil, right? Let's move towards the next question. Pragati, the Prime Minister's flagship platform, has marked a significant milestone with the successful conduct of its 50th meeting. Pragati stands for what? Now, this is a question which is related to the government schemes. And trust me, whatever government exam you are taking is not only about the bank exam or SSC exam or whatever exam, whichever state you are sitting and listening to this video, this classroom. Uh, the government schemes are very frequently asked, and sometimes you are also asked the full form. For an example, government has a scheme known as Udan. Do you know which industry is related to Udan? What is the purpose of government to launch this scheme? So think, I'll get back to this scheme in one question. So by the time I want you to think, this is related to what? Nonetheless, the full form of Pragati is proactive governance and timely implementation. So the answer is one. One more thing, while you are preparing for government schemes, do not try to read every scheme independence onwards, right? For an example, MP lads. The scheme is very old, or schemes which were introduced during the planning commission regime, I'm sorry, because we are into the Modi era from last, say, 10-15 years. So the schemes launched by the Modi government is very important for you. You should know the full form. You should know the relevance of the scheme. You should know, for an example, a very flagship financial inclusion scheme known as PMJDY. Right. So you should know the full form of Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. You should know how many accounts are opened. You should know what is the balance in this account. I'm not asking you to count the money, but then time to time, recently there was this news that the balance has crossed this much of amount. So government schemes are very important, very vital because you're planning for government exams. So government schemes you should be clear with. Right. Nonetheless, so the full form is one, proactive governance and timely implementation. So this is again, you should know what is Pragati. So Pragati is a monitoring program which reviews the delayed projects by the government. So if there is a metro project by the government started in some state and it is getting delayed, so it monitors whether the program is like whether the project has uh, ended on time, started on time. It also solves the bottlenecks which are coming in front of the clearance of the project. So this is about Pragati. Uh, which ministry looks after the copyright law in India? Now, here the question can be tweaked also. Which ministry looks for the IPR regime in India? Right? So, IPR is intellectual property rights. Copyrights is one of the the part of the IPRs. So something happened in the month of December and January, known as scrapping. I'm sorry, which was into the news. What is web scrapping? So I'll give you an example. See, I'm sure that you people are preparing for competitive exams and you have to go through a lot of subjects, maybe DILR or quantitative aptitude or English or reasoning or whatsoever. And it's imperative that these days people are using the AI. So I'm sure for you also are using maybe ChatGPT or Grok or say DeepSeek or whatsoever. So while you ask these, for an example, you are asking a question to ChatGPT that tell me about the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, which is again one of the scheme of the government. Okay. Now you search this and ChatGPT came up with the outlay of uh, the scheme's success and other things, whatever you wanted to know. So yeah, ChatGPT would not do it itself. You know, it would go to some websites or some news papers or some news channels or whatsoever, and then it would give you a comprehensive idea about what is Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana all about. So what ChatGPT is doing, ChatGPT is web scraping. That means it's trying to find the data from the different websites, maybe of a newspaper, Indian Express or Hindu or the Times of India. So the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which is responsible for the copyright laws in India, has told these AI companies to give a kind of a text to us while you are using the websites of newspapers of India for getting the knowledge. You should give us a kind of text, whereas we'll make a corpus and we'll give that money to the news channels or newspapers website so that they are providing you the data, and then you will not be uh, infringing their copyright. So this is where the Ministry of Commerce was in news. There are many other things comes in the IPR. You have GI tag, so geographical indication tags. This was also asked in many of the exams. So yes, you should read about IPR regimes in India, and the recent news happened with that. Let's move towards the next slide. Shank and Al Hind, which recently were in news, are related to what? So Shank and Al Hind, is it a regional airline or it's a new name of a government school? Maybe PM Sandeepani School now became Shank, or a government scheme related to housing, or an initiative to provide vaccination, or I'm sorry, I don't know. So there should be one more option. No, skip. I don't read the newspaper. Skip this question for me. It should not happen. You should be at least able to answer 50% of the questions I'm going to show here. So Shank and Al Hind, which recently were in news, are related to the regional airlines. So Shank was started in UP and Al Hind, I think, in Kerala. Right. These are the regional airlines started by the government recently because, this Indigo crisis happened. The government said that they should give holidays to the crew staff and the pilots, and then Indigo suddenly gave the holidays, and the aviation sector of India was into bad shape for a few days. So government decided that we should also promote the regional airlines. So this is actually the GK thing. I mean, I should know that Shank and Alind are regional airlines. But if you have to write an essay on this, or an let's say descriptive writing on government starting regional airlines, good for economy or bad, such kind of things. So you should give them as an example as well. No, for an example, before that also government has promoted many regional airlines, but usually people don't prefer it. So if let's suppose I live in Madhya Pradesh and government starts a regional airlines from Bhopal to Indore. So I would try to find a bus rather going for a airline and paying that much of money. So cost analysis, because airlines cannot offer me a ticket for 500 rupees, no? But I would get the, if I have to travel 200 kilometers, I would rather go for bus or cheapest the train. So this is again one thing. Plus regional airlines, the planes are very small. So the place where they, you call it belly cargo, where they keep the cargo, is very small. So even they cannot earn from the freight activities, and therefore regional airlines are not performing well. I'm not saying the future is also dark, but right now they are not performing well. So the question is whether government should promote it or not. Anyways, let's move towards the next question. Who among the following has ended his or her decade-long partnership with JSW Sports to launch his or her own athlete management firm, Well Sports? So PV Sindhu, Sania Mirza, Neeraj Chopra, Virat Kohli, or Rohit Sharma? No, the correct answer is Neeraj Chopra. This is a sports news. You find 2 to 3 sports questions in every exam. So he's a Olympic level javelin star, Neeraj Chopra. So the next question, which of the following states celebrated its major harvest festival, the Gan Nagai of the Kabui community recently? So Sikkim, Tripura, Manipur, Nagaland, or Arunachal Pradesh. These are all the parts of Seven Sisters. So recently, some states celebrated Makar Sankranti, some celebrated Pongal. So these are certain harvest festivals which are. I'm in the next slide. I'm also going to show you a map. You can also, recollect by looking at that map that which state goes for what harvesting festival. However, the answer of this question is Manipur. So Manipur, there are many stars players which are coming from Manipur. For an example, Mary Com. So Mary Com itself, she said few months ago that the Manipur is burning. So why Manipur is burning? So there are, that Northeast consists of lot many tribes which are not happy with each other, keep on fighting with each other. And two such tribes are Maitis and Cookies. I'm sorry if I wrongly spelled Maitis and Cookies. So these two tribes, actually, cookies are the tribes, Maitis. They are actually fighting for the tribal status. So they said that we want ST status, but cookies somehow not happy. This tribe lives in hills of Manipur. This lives in the plains of Manipur, and then it's not only these two tribes. There is ongoing talk with Nagas, which is also one tribe which is not happy with. So there are many reasons I'm not going to discuss. But yes, being a competitive exam aspirant, you should be aware about what's going on in Manipur, why the CM of Manipur, uh, N. Biren Singh, resigned, why there was president rule in Manipur, what is the demand of Mighty community, what is the demand of cookies, what is the stand of center government. So you should have the holistic approach while you are studying any current affair, especially related to India, right? So that was a big conflict of 23-24, you should know. Nonetheless, let's move further. So let me show you a slide which has all the uh, states, what these states celebrate as their harvesting festivals. So if you go to Punjab, you have Lohri, which was again celebrated. Let me change the color of my pen first. So in Punjab, you have Lohri. In Gujarat, you have Sakranti known as Uttarayan. Then Maharashtra and MP, the same thing is known as Makar Sakranti. Then Karnataka, this is known as Makar Sankramana. Then Kerala, this is known as Makara Vilakku. Tamil Nadu is known as Pongal. So, see, every state celebrating harvesting by the different names. Assam celebrates this as Bihu and so forth. So it's not only about the northeastern states you can be asked, but you can be asked about Assam or Uttar Pradesh maybe or whatsoever. So should be prepared. Anyways, let's move towards the next question. Who among the following created history by winning the H3 class in the prologue stage of the Dakar rally? Dakar is one of the famous rallies when it comes to the motorbikes, right? And the answer of this question is Sanjay Takale. What is the objective of Dhruva initiative, which was in news in December 2025? An invention by DRDO or a new initiative by ISRO or a name of PSLV or a government scheme related to the girl child or an initiative to create digital address label by the Department of, just a sec, Post. So the answer is an initiative to create digital address label by Department of Post. I'll tell you what is this all about. Let's suppose I live in Delhi. So rather than giving me the saving my address in the hard copy form, the government says that we'll have a Dhruva portal. So it would be like my name is Suresh. So Suresh at, I'm sorry, Dhruva. So today, let's say I'm living in Bhopal, and tomorrow I am living in, I'm transferred to Mumbai or Delhi. So the address would be same, but government, what it would do is I can go to the website of the government and I can change my address digitally. But this would be a digital address given to me. So this is how the government is planning. Anyways. Which of the following is launching its first large-scale carbon capture storage pilot at the Gandhar oil field in Gujarat, injecting captured CO2 into old wells to curb emission? Now, this is the news which is which was there in the newspaper, and such kind of things which are related to the carbon emission or global warming, uh, especially when it comes in the newspaper, be very careful and make the proper notes of such kind of things. So the answer of this question is although ONGC, but there are many important things which can be there uh, in the exams related to this. For an example, India has a net zero target. So in the Paris Summit 2015, the net zero concept came. That means whatever carbon emission you are doing, you would give back this much to the Mother Earth so that your carbon emission would be zero. So the question can be, which year India is going to finish its net zero target? So you should know that year is 2070, whereas India said we'll achieve the net zero target, right? So ONGC has done around 1000 crore investment in this. Uh, this will also increase the oil uh, output by 10 to 15%. And then recently COP30 happened, no? Conference of Party. Where it happened? So it happened in Belém, Brazil, right? This is one question which can be asked. They can also ask which year, I mean, next year, I'm sorry, very sorry. Next year, COP31, Conference of Parties 31. That means they are going to meet at 31 time. Where it's going to be there? I mean, where it's going to be held. So you should know that it's going to be held in Turkey or Turkey. So India has expressed the interest that we are happy to host the COP33 in 2028. So maybe India can be the destination of COP33 in 2028. So what initiatives Indian government has taken to fight with the climate change? Uh, Comes in the news. I'm reading it every day. Uh, some news is always there related to the global warming or the climate change. Maybe today I was reading that it was India's driest winter so forth. I mean, there was very little rain occurred in the Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh and even Jammu and Kashmir, which is not good because of the global warming. Such changes are happening. So you should know the steps taken by the government, like National Solar Mission. This is important. Uh, then National Green Hydrogen Mission. So no. Uh, Recently, Europe was blamed that it is going to impose the carbon tax. So, what is carbon tax all about? This is also related to the the global warming. So, these are few things which can come in the exams. So let's move towards the next question. So according to Global Times report, Dash surpassed Tesla in full year electric vehicle sales for the first time in 2025, securing its position as the world's largest electric vehicle seller. And the answer is BYD. Can someone tell me that BYD belongs to which country? I'm sure that this is needless to ask, and I'm sure that most of you are aware because the BYD cars are very beautiful. I've seen one few days ago, black color BYD car, and the full form is Build Your Dreams. Yes, it's a Chinese EV and battery giant. So China is far ahead these days in this technology because they were already the leaders of battery making, and they are able to make the lightest battery operated cars. So China has many advantages. It has economy of scale. It has competitive pricing, strong manufacturing ecosystem already China possesses, and therefore it is leading in the EV sales. Anyways, let's move towards the next question. So the Prime Minister inaugurated the light and the lotus relics of the Auckland, a grand international exposition of the sacred Piprava relics of. So the answer of this is Gautam Buddha. So Lord Buddha is known as awakened one. I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. Uh, so the second Khelo India Beach Games began at the Goshala Beach in Diu, which is the following sport is not a part of it, and beach kho is not the part of it. The rest others are. So beach volleyball, beach soccer. Which of the following athletes won the gold medal in 1500 meters at the 2018 Asian Games? Announced his retirement recently. So the answer is Jinon Johnson. He announced his retirement recently. He won gold in 1500 meters in 2018 Asian Games. So he's a middle distance runner actually. A rare pair of twin mountain gorillas was born in the Virugna National Park, home to fewer than 1,100 mountain gorillas worldwide. The Virugna National Park is in which country? So the answer is Democratic Republic of the Congo. So fourth is the right answer. Democratic Republic of Congo. So mountain gorillas are critically rare, and this Virugana National Park is one of the most famous wildlife parks in Africa. It's also a UNESCO site, remember. So United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization. So it's also a UNESCO site. Let's move towards the next question. The first phase of a Census of India 2027 relates to so house listing and housing census. So India census has usually two phases. One is house listing, and other is population enumeration. So these are two important things. You should, because census is going to be there very soon. So you should also be knowing the constitutional angle. So census is being conducted under Section 3. Section 3 and 17A. Remember these two acts. Section 3 and 17A of the Census Act. Which year? So 1948. So Census Act 1948. So that would be the 16th census. So this year, few things are very important. One is census, another is SIR, which is also controversial. I won't discuss why. You would read about it. Another thing, a very important thing, is on 31st of January. Very important for all of you preparing for bank exam or SSC or whatsoever. 31st January is going to be very important. Why? Because this day, the chief economic advisor is going to present the economic survey. I'm sorry. So it's very important to read the economic survey in details because this would give the data of the growth story of India, the GDP growth rate, the CPI inflation trends, the government schemes, and everything which is needed as a data for your exams going to be important. And of course, the first Sunday of Feb, which is also going to be the first Feb, and going to be very important because the Honorable FM is going to present the budget. So Article 112 of the Indian Constitution talks about the annual financial statement, which is budget. This is also going to be presented. So be very careful while reading the economic survey. Make the notes of all the important data given by the chief economic advisor and while reading the budget. I would suggest sit in front of a TV and see the budget for say it won't take your 2 hours or more than that. But at least you'd be quite enlightened after reading this. Anyways, next question. India became the first country to commercially produce which eco-friendly material? So India became the first country to commercially produce the biobitumen. So where it is used? So it is used in road construction. So this would also reduce the petroleum dependency for road construction, as well the greener infrastructure because it is known as biobituminous. So definitely it would be made with the bio waste. So this is made with agriculture waste or other things. Usually there is one more bitumen which is petroleum based, but this is not petroleum based. This is so it would actually reduce the emission by 50%. So it's a greener option. And of course, if India is doing so, this is usually mostly made by the MSMEs. So it would also support the MSMEs of India, plus the sustainable infrastructure growth. Anyways, the next question. According to the first advance estimate by the NSO, what is the full form of NSO, students? Tell me the full form. So that is National Statistical Office and not organization. That is National Statistical Office. You should not call it National Statistical Organization. So the answer is 7.4%. Although this is very difficult to remember because there are many organizations. In fact, IMF gives the GDP projection, then RBI gives the GDP projection, World Bank gives the GDP projection, and the difference is 1.1, 2.2. So it's very difficult to remember everything. But what I say is the day you are going for an exam, that day, if before 1, 2 days, if there is some data, especially given by, because this is actually the government organization, comes under MOSPI. So the full form is Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. This body is the boss of NSO. So earlier it used to be CSO and NSSO. If I'm not wrong, in 2019, these were merged as one National Statistical Office. So 7.4% in the answer. Assuming that you people are aware between the difference between the real GDP and the nominal GDP. I'm not going to discuss this in details because of short of time. But yes, you should know about the way GDP is calculated. And one very important method is expenditure method, which says C plus I plus G plus X minus M. Whereas C as in private consumption, I as in investment, G as in government expenditure plus X minus M, that is net exports, right? So this is important for you if you are preparing for the competitive exams because GDP news is everywhere. But since this data is very dynamic, they might ask you the core concepts. So this is one method. Then you have production method of GDP. This is also asked. Then you have income method of GDP. So income method says W plus I plus P plus R. Wages, interest, profit, and rent, right? So I told you about the three methods. Now it's your responsibility to read further. You should also know what is GDP deflector. GDP deflator. So these are few things I am telling you. Recently, IMF was quite critical about India's GDP data. That was also news. IMF said the data is not accurate, the base year is old, and many other things. So just read about this. By the way, NSO also gives the data of CPI, which is Consumer Price Index, a way by which calculation of inflation in India is done, and the IIP, Index of Industrial Production. So these two datas plus the GDP data is given by NSO. Anyways, let's move towards the next question. So the next question says, the draft Pesticide Management Bill 2025 seeks to replace which act? So answer is Insecticides Act of 1968. So what's going to be new? So there would be stricter regulations, there would be modern safety standards, and again, if someone infringes this act, there would be stronger penalties and so forth. So that's it. Next question. In the 70th Ati Vishisht Rail Seva Puruskar, which is among the highest honor in Indian Railways, which zone was the winner? So the answer is Southern Railway, fourth. Why? Because Railway is cleaner than the rest of its peers of India. There are many eco-friendly initiatives taken by Southern Railway, and better public services are provided. According to this uh, award, which of the following events expected to be the world's largest sustainability gathering? So that would be Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week of 2026. So it's a kind of a global platform for green energy, climate policy, sustainability finance, and innovation related to sustainability and so forth. Which of the following is the target year for Bal Vivaah Mukt Bharat campaign? Those who could not understand Hindi properly, the Bal Vivaah means child marriage. So child marriage, anti-child marriage campaign, actually you can call it. So, okay, it's mentioned in English also, my bad. Okay, so this question, the answer is 2030. So if child marriage would be ended, it would lead to better women education, better health outcomes, and the demographic dividend quality and so forth. Is being developed as a single window digital platform that brings together individual, non-resident Indians, non-governmental organizations, and institutions to support women and children through CSR, corporate social responsibility. So the answer of this question is first, Pankhuri. Plus, you should know about corporate social responsibility. So, Companies Act 2013 talks about the corporate social responsibility. That means the companies must spend 2% of CSR amount on their average profit of last 3 years. So you have to mug this up. 2% of CSR amount of their average profit of last 3 years. And there are CSR awards also given, which is given by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, right? So, corporate social responsibility. One such example is DCM Haryali store or ITCE Chopal. So, opening the schools in villages or selling the seeds to farmers or fertilizers to farmers as lower than market price. This is actually CSR. The Unique Identification Authority of India recently launched the Aadhaar mascot. So the answer is Uday, UDAI. So it's an animated character. It promotes like services of the government related to banking sector or subsidies given by the government via the GEM Trinity. So the full form is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar, and Mobile. And another current affair. US President Donald Trump has expressed interest in taking control of Greenland. Yesterday, I was reading that some of the representatives also visited White House, the European representatives, but nothing happened, and US is quite adamant on acquiring Greenland and mineral rich island. The US is saying that China and Russia are making their bases there, and therefore it don't want that. So it's a territory of Denmark. And I'm sure that most of you listening to this video were aware about this. If you are not aware about Denmark and sorry, and the Greenland issue, you should think twice, because this is something is there every day. Even if you open this newspaper of today, you find something related to Greenland. So Greenland has self-rule, but remain under Denmark. Remember this. So Greenland also is world's largest island. I'm telling you this because Greenland is in news, and if not asked directly, they can ask you that what is the largest island of the world. So you should know that Greenland is the largest island of the world, and it is located in the North Atlantic Ocean. North Atlantic, and is a territory of Denmark, self-ruled but territory of Denmark. So it also has mountain ranges like Watkin. This is the mountain range which is there, Watkins actually. And of course, the stunning Alps. So the mountain ranges of Greenland, important for you to remember. The the area of Greenland, important for you to remember. Borglum River. This is a river flows in Greenland. So Greenland has been a mining nation since the late 1700s. Uh, it extracts coal, then it started mining gold, silver, copper. So I'll just show you the map of Greenland. So this is actually Greenland. Let me change the color of my pen. You should also know the neighborhood countries. Just a sec. So this is Greenland, which is a territory of Denmark. Here you have Iceland, and this is the capital of Greenland, Nuuk. Right. Here you have Norway, and here is Sweden, and this is the Arctic Ocean. And this is the country which is looking to acquire this. Here you have Canada. So, knowing the map is going to be very helpful. Okay. Indian Army renewed MOU till 2019 with which bank? So, important question related to banking if you are preparing for bank. So, HDFC is the answer. So, next question. Which country's scientists developed the first supercomputer powered simulation to capture the MPE-MBA effect, a long existing paradox of hot water freezing faster than cold water? And you would surprised to know that it's India. So we are also moving to become a state which is into R&D, because even the economic survey said that India's R&D is poor, but gradually we are improving from this. So next question. According to the data released by FADA, Dash remained the largest segment of the Indian automobile sector, which saw 7.71% year-on-year growth in the last calendar year. And this is actually a common sense question that usually we buy the two-wheelers since we are a middle income country. So two-wheelers is the answer. Uh, India has 70% market share of two-wheelers. Rural demand, the people shifting from regular vehicles to electric vehicles. So this two-wheeler sector contributes around 7% to GDP. In which of the following cities was India's first commercial tropical trout farm established? A kind of a fish, not exactly a fish, but a fish-like creature. And the answer is Hyderabad. So next question. Elon Musk owned SpaceX has launched the third Cosmos SkyMat second generation satellite for which country? And the answer is Italy. Security point of view, disaster management, and other things, environmental monitoring, whether it's going to be a tornado or some hurricane is coming, it would tell. Former Union Minister Suresh Kalmadi passed away. He served as the president of the Indian Olympic Association. So Suresh Kalmadi led IOA from 1996 to 2011. He oversaw the Commonwealth Games of that time. There were certain corruption allegations on Suresh Kalmadi, since India made a big story of how the corruption happened in that Commonwealth Games. Under whose, under whose chairmanship was the first meeting of the Payment Regulatory Board held in Mumbai? So, Payment Regulatory Board, the chairman is the RBI governor. So, the answer is Sanjay Malhotra. So, it's a regulatory oversight for payment ecosystems of UPI, digital wallets, so on and so forth. So, earlier it was known as BPSS, and now it is known as the PRB. So the last question, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum has recently marked the 20th anniversary of his assumption of the office of the Prime Minister of UAE. So with UAE, I read one more current affair related to Yemen. There is a protest going on. What protest is going on? It's up to you to find and read about, because one more geopolitical tension has begun. So students, with this, we have covered a few very important questions of current affairs. So keep on watching us and do like and subscribe us if you like this video. Uh, Thank you very much and have a nice day ahead.